We're live. We're finally live. Hello, everybody. My deepest apologies for the delay. We are finally here after a little bit of a break. Sean and I got quite busy. Some things came up. Couldn't really get together for the last couple episodes on time. But we're here. We're ready to talk the latest episodes of the Rings of Power. The two that we have not talked about, 4 and 5.
We're just talking about 5.
We're really just talking about 5.
Right?
You're right. We're really just talking about 5. I mean, 4 was cool, but 5 is the most important thing to happen to Lord of the Rings, I think, in a long time. So that's pretty much what we're going to be diving into. But Shawnee, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm Jake. How do you feel about doing a live trailer reaction?
Oh, what is the trailer reaction to?
To a show you've never seen.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Well, okay. So Amazon has 3 great fantasy series, right?
Okay.
Oh, actually, first things first, right? Let's talk about this show. This show's just Whiskey Jedi, but we don't pour whiskey before it.
True. Do you want to pour some whiskey?
Yeah, why don't we just right? I mean, am I wrong?
You're not wrong. No, I could happily go run and pour a quick glass of whiskey.
Okay, second, Jake, you're a big fan of both fantasy series Amazon has put out so far.
Correct. You're talking about Lord of the Rings and Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time. What if I told you there's a third?
I'm curious what you were speaking of.
All right. Well, here, I just got sent the trailer and I didn't know it was out. So I'm going to watch the trailer. Either I put it up on screen or I don't.
Are you talking about oh wait, what are you talking about? You're talking about
Legends of Vox Machina.
Oh no, I have not seen any of this. No.
Okay. Well, I think you'd like it.
Wait, hasn't this show been out for a while?
Yeah, this is the season 2 trailer.
Oh, okay.
Just came out.
Sure. This literally should just be called like the Jake and Sean hour. At this point, it's not Lord of the Rings most of the time.
I mean, yeah. It's. I mean, it is what it is, right? I'm gonna watch it. So
let's check it out. I haven't seen a single thing on this show, so
that's fine. I don't think this trailer spoils anything from season 1. I don't think.
Sure. Why not? Is there sound?
Hold on. Did I not share audio? Hold on.
Maybe not.
Almost like I'm a professional. Share system audio. No window. Let's go window. Let's go there. Share. All right. Are you getting audio now? Hold on. Let's see. No. Take that as a no. All right. It's because I've got all kinds. Of weird with my settings.
StreamYard's funky sometimes.
Well, and like I was saying before we started, I fucked up my settings. Before. You're
always toying with your settings. Always.
Well, no. I reset my computer for an update and it fucked everything up.
Let me pull it up. I'll pull it up. Let me see. Vox Machina. Oh, is it the clip?
Yeah.
The season 2 first
season
look?
Season 2 first look. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right, hold on. Let's see. And you watched season 1, correct?
I've watched season 1. I also know what happens in season 2, but it's based on something else.
Oh, okay.
It's based on a. Well, actually, you know what? I don't want to tell you what it's based on because I just want you to watch the show. I think you'll like the show.
All right, fair enough. All right, here we go. Let me know if you can hear the sound or not.
I can.
Okay. I'm already getting a Game of Thrones vibe here.
Yeah.
Alarm bells. I suddenly feel overdressed. Is this part of the show?
I don't think so, buddy.
The call to arms! Everyone move! Are those dragons?
It's just like literally animated Game of Thrones.
Yeah, kinda.
Oh. And it's vulgar? Love it.
It's very vulgar. We're gonna talk about. Okay, that's great. I totally know what they're doing. We'll talk about it after the show. I'm gonna show you a clip for the show.
I mean, I'm interested.
I'm gonna
I'm definitely interested.
I'm gonna get you hooked.
Fair enough.
Fucking fantastic. Anyways, Rings of Power. Holy shit, that last episode.
Oh, bonkers good. Bonkers.
The theme for Numenor is like, for me, better than anything. It's my favorite theme we've had for Lord of the Rings, period.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is.
No, I thought it was I mean, in fact, I think I told you, because I had watched it on Friday when it came out. And I think you forgot about it. And you're like, oh, wait.
Totally forgot.
Rings of Power.
Well, and we had, and I had something going on Thursday night. And then
Friday night was happy hour and I wasn't there.
Friday night was happy hour, which you weren't there.
I was not there. Luckily, because it turned into a crazy fest from what I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, it was a lot of fun. But I tried to warn them. Someone said a word, and I can't even remember I remember what the word is now.
Yeah, I remember what the word is. I'm not going to say it.
Someone said a word, and I don't think they realized that the word had another meaning.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine who was watching the show texted me, and they're like, they shouldn't say that, right? I'm like, yeah, I know they shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
And I explained, I'm like, hey, maybe don't say that. And then they decided to.
Fair. No, but look, I think I texted you when we were talking about it that this is my favorite thing Lord of the Rings has done since the original trilogy. I think it's better than all three Hobbit movies, just single episode.
Absolutely.
It's just, it feels like I for the first time, and me coming from a casual fan, for the first time, I felt like I was watching Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's so interesting you say that too, because like nothing in this episode really pulled from like the lore. You know what I mean? Like there was nothing in this episode that was like, oh yeah, this is a reference to this. No, it was all, the showrunners kind of taking it and running with it.
Yeah.
And I think it shows that, hey, that's what they need to be doing, right? They need to fucking just embrace it and go.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I agree. I mean, it took them 6 episodes to get here, and this was kind of what I was waiting for. And I know that it was a buildup because you obviously have to establish characters and worlds,
but
locations and stuff.
I don't know, but you could have had a,
I felt like this could have happened in episode 4,
or something like it could have happened in episode 4, right? Like this didn't have to happen in episode 4, but something could have happened in episode 4.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal, man. I mean, Mount Doom is officially exploded. Bye.
Yeah,
it is a goner.
I texted because I told Alex while we were on happy hour, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch Lord of the Rings. He's like, oh my god, text me when you're done. The first thing I texted him was, that's not how volcanoes work. And he responded by sending me a video of a volcano actually working like that. So,
oh my god, of course he did.
He's starting a new channel called Volcanoes Explained. But, which by the way, our show's fine. Go watch Casterly Talk from this week. Alex is on it with Rachel Cushing, and it's great. But yeah, what's funny? I don't have a lot to say about this episode, right?
I mean, it really is action heavy. It's really only
heavy.
The ending that matters.
The ending is so good, and the scenes with there's 2 speeches, and like I didn't write quotes or notes or anything. But Galadriel's speech, it's so funny because if that's delivered by a villain, if you get that speech delivered by Hux, right? We might actually think of Hux as a decent villain.
Yeah.
And then Adar's speech is so heroic and like it's so interesting. Yes, Jillian.
Hi, Jill.
What, baby?
We're gonna go to Cheesecake Factory.
You're gonna go to the Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do your thing.
You could have texted, Jill, I'm here salvaging your YouTube channel.
Hi, Jake.
Jake's cracking
I
up.
know, I saw it.
Oh man.
No, I'm okay. Thank you. No, I'm good. Maybe. I don't know. Get me, yeah, sure. Give me some sort of cake, a cheesecake, or tiramisu.
Sure.
Tiramisu.
I love it.
From
I love it.
Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah, I don't like cheesecake.
Me neither. Me
Jake
neither.
doesn't either. We're on
No.
the same page.
Not for
You know,
me.
Jake. Speaking of, I gotta get your chocolate milk recipe, man. Because yeah, you know, Jake has a glass. You not know these things about your friends?
I thought he used like Nesquik or like not Nesquik, the other one.
The other one?
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Jessica, what's the chocolate milk? Ovaltine.
Are you an Ovaltine guy, Jake?
No.
No, Nesquik. You use Nesquik?
I use Nesquik, but also Trader Joe's has their own version of chocolate milk that is out of this world.
So but don't you want the ritual of making the chocolate milk?
That's why I have a Costco size of Nesquik. It's like this big.
The powder, right?
Yeah, the powder.
Yeah.
Always the powder, never the syrup. Never the syrup.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. All right, bye, babe. Love you. I went and made I like the other night. I like couldn't sleep, whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna make, I want something sweet. I made we have chocolate syrup in the fridge. So I made some chocolate milk and I'm like, it's just not the same.
Yeah. I have it 3 or 4 times a week. I'm a total milk guy.
Oh, I thought you because you used to be an every night guy.
I used to be an every night guy, but it sometimes messes with my stomach if I don't feel well.
We're getting old. Milk when we get older. Yeah.
Exactly.
We're not meant to drink it.
Yeah. Anyway, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. We're oh boy. Yeah. I don't know. It was, I tell you what, I'll tell you what, man. Adar at the end of this, I empathize with that character.
Oh yeah. And you mean in the barn scene? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
When he's laying on the ground? Yeah.
Like I should not empathize with Adar.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Reefton, good to see you, man.
Dude, I haven't seen Reefton in the chat in forever, my guy. How are you? How are you, Reef? So Adar was easily his best episode.
Yeah, and we get that reveal about
he's an original orc.
He's a proto orc.
Yeah, he's an OG, if you will.
Which is, that's something new to this.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if that's part of anything that we know of.
Tolkien was the problem, man. What is up with everything today? Tolkien was so vague about a lot of things.
Yeah.
He kind of has told the story of the orcs a couple different ways, and to the point where we've never really gotten a full on perspective on it. But part of that is because the orcs aren't. Tolkien wasn't really big on giving POV, no pun intended, giving a point of view to villainous characters, right?
Got it.
The orcs in Lord of the Rings are really not meant to be seen as nuanced. They're not meant to be seen as people.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be they're just supposed to be in D&D. This is the best way I know how to describe this. Actually, Jake, you're of the right age. Did you watch Power Rangers growing up?
Mm-hmm.
They don't explain the putties.
No,
right?
They don't. They were just they're like the pawns essentially.
Right. They're just there. That's the point of the orcs. Now the orcs have a little more culture than that, but once you start explaining, hey, the orcs are elves,
That's why they never touched it on the original trilogy. They were basically pawns. They were just henchmen, right?
They discussed the Urukai a little bit in the original trilogy. But kind of it's just supposed to sort of show. That's because in the movie Sauron is developing the Urukai.
What did Adar call himself? Was it Udar?
Uruk.
Okay.
Uruk.
Which is an OG orc, I imagine.
Yeah, well, it's black. I believe it's black speech for orc.
Got it.
Okay. Is my understanding. It's black speech for orc.
Okay.
And orc is, that's the elvish slang for it, or the so that's why he's like, no, don't call me an orc. That's your word, not mine.
Yeah. He wants to be respected.
Yeah. It's funny. I've been watching, completely unrelated. My brain's going everywhere today. I've been watching a lot of history related content on YouTube because that's what I do. I watch random shit on YouTube. And one of the videos I was watching today was talking. I got a lot of time to kill at work. Okay. One of the videos was talking about the Iroquois and how that's not even an Iroquois word.
Really?
Like no one knows where that word came from. Like they've got their own word for their people. That's not right. Like that was a word the English gave them. That's kind of like orc, right? It's not their word. Their word is Uruk.
It just gets lost in history of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, which Urukai, the name Urukai is derivative of that. And I think they say Uruk at some point in the original trilogy.
And if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Urukai are the ones that were essentially born, whereas the orcs were made?
Well, no, the Urukai are the ones that you see Sauron pulling out of the pits.
So like in like sacks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which again, that's something specific to the movie.
Okay, got it. Okay.
The Urukai in essentially what they are is humans crossed with orc men.
That's what Reefton just said.
Or elves crossed with orc men.
Yeah, okay.
Well, no, even orc men, I believe. Actually, high might be men. But anyways, they are bred by Sauron to get rid of the one flaw that orcs have, which is the sunlight sensitivity.
Got it. Okay. So the ones that we see in the Rings of Power are more orc than Urukai.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
And Urukai are specifically they're orcs crossed with humans, whereas and in some of the you have to remember the Lord of the Rings canon is just a combination of Tolkien's letters, that he published and like his notes and things that were unpublished, right? Yeah. We have the books, but for the most part, a lot of this stuff it's just unpublished, whatever. So everything we know about the orcs is most likely they were dark elves, which means something. If you're a D&D fan, dark elf means something different in Tolkien. It means without light, not they are elves that never saw the light of the trees.
Okay.
Going back to that first episode, or dark elves.
Yeah.
They're elves that never saw the light of the trees, and then they were corrupted by Morgoth to turn them into orcs. So it's so interesting, and I think what we see when they're in that citadel up north in the Frostweald. Frostweald is from Legends of Vox Machina. That's the wrong word. Now I fucked up my brain. Fjordwraith or whatever. The frozen north. Canada, when they're in Canada in the first episode, and they show like they've been playing with blood magic and like all of that, it very much leads to that whole idea of Sauron and Morgoth using blood magic and other things to corrupt corrupt these people. So this episode was just the Southlands plot, right? We got like one ship of them on the boat, but
no, I mean it was heavy on is it Arendir, right? Arendir and everyone the Southlands. We got minimal of everything Numenor just because they were traveling most of the time. Mm-hmm. And then they showed up at the right time in Middle Earth to save them. No, I mean I thought it was great because the previous episode was very Numenor heavy. It was very Numenor heavy. So they're obviously now they're blending together.
Well, and I want to shout out a scene in the previous episode. The Harfoots traveling with the montage with the song. That was the before this episode, the previous two episodes have both done a really good use of song, which song is so important to Tolkien. If you read The Lord of the Rings, there's like a song every 4 pages.
Got it.
Okay. Like songs and poetry every 4 pages. And this was the first one, like Disa's song during the Dwarven Princess.
Oh yeah, which was great.
Disa's song was great, but this one really showed like the Hobbit traveling songs, right? And it was so good, and it was so Tolkien. That was the most Tolkien thing I've seen, right, in this show. And I love that it references, the song ends, "Not all who wander or wonder are lost," which, you're familiar with the phrase, "Not all who wander are lost."
Yeah.
That's a Tolkien phrase, right?
I had no idea. No.
Yeah, it's from
which makes sense, in the world.
You've heard part of it because part of it's in Lord of the Rings. Is it the Ballad of Aragorn or what is it? It's Reforge the blade that was broken. Not all that glitters is gold. Not all who wander are lost. Something.
Reforge the blade that was broken. That sounds like the third movie.
Yeah, it's in the third movie.
Return of the King, right before Aragorn gets the sword back. It's got to be
right. Yeah, they quote the poem in that Aragorn poem. Let's see. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken. A light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be the blade that was broken. The crownless again shall be king. They say those last two lines in Arwen. Yeah, thank you, Andy. Arwen says it in Return of the King.
Got it.
But it's a poem about Aragorn, and so not all that glitters is gold and not all who wander are lost are both from Lord of the Rings, and people fucking forget that. So I love that song had that line in there, and I wonder how many people realize that, like,
it connects.
Yeah, and the poem that poem is actually written by Bilbo.
Oh, okay.
Because the Lord of the Rings, the book, the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, well, yeah. At the end of Hobbit.
Well, during
That's
Fellowship.
right.
Yeah, during Fellowship and at the end of Hobbit, you see him writing the book.
And then we see at the very end of Return of the King as he finishes, obviously, the Lord of the Rings.
And Frodo finishes, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got it. I mean, that's cool. It's a cool, like, universal connection. And it seems like it was used in the right place. I will say that I do like, I did like what they did with the Harfoots in episode 4. We didn't get them at all in episode 5.
No, which I'm fine with. There's so many fucking characters in this show.
There's so much happening. I'm so happy that now 2 of the stories are blended in one right now.
For now.
But there was just so much happening all at once in such a short amount of time. And at least for what feels like the next 2 episodes, 2 of those stories are now blended together, which is cool. So.
Right. Yeah. Man, what do you think of Halbrand? Where are we at with Halbrand? He's got to be evil, right?
I honestly go back and forth. Like,
so at the end of episode 4, I was like, all right, he's on the side.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But when and I don't know her name, but the human woman.
Who
has the son?
Bronwyn.
Bronwyn. When Bronwyn asks him, "Are you the king that we were promised?" and he hesitates, and then he says, "Yes," I'm like, didn't sell me on that. Yes.
Well, and also, right? Like, if you swap that story and you put a good, like, from a storytelling perspective, right? Mm-hmm. You put a good character in those shoes, he's gonna deny it and say, "No, but I'll lead you," right?
Yeah.
But no,
most of the time, yes.
He's like, "Yes, I am the king you wanted." Yeah, sure, absolutely.
And it's funny is right now, like, they're doing a great job of selling me on him. Like, right. I really dig the character.
He's acted so well. He's charismatic. And I also, like, look, I'm not one to usually talk about, like, race and casting choices and all this stuff, but he's definitely cast to be, like, the prototypical hero, right?
Yeah.
Like,
he's the Aragorn of this series right now.
Yeah, he's very much like, right? He's the handsome, dark hair, charming, white, straight male hero.
And now we saw him how good he is in action.
Right.
Like it's clear.
Yeah.
It's clear.
It's
I don't know, man. Like it's like is he Sauron? I don't know. I don't know if he's that evil, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's revealed that he is. Because I mean, Sauron takes over the Southlands and turns it into Mordor. And what does Halbrand have control of right now?
Mordor.
Well, Southlands.
Right.
So like it kind of fits.
Right.
But I don't know. I really do go back and forth. I go back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
very confusing.
Also, the episode title. I recognize the episode title, Udun, because in the "You Shall Not Pass" scene
in Fellowship,
okay. Gandalf says, "Dark fire will not avail you, flame of Udun." Right. And then you
could that be the sword?
Well, no. So Udun. So I found this out. Explain it to me.
Oh, okay.
on the Malik's channel.
There's so much.
I'm plugging all the shows that are better than ours. Explain it to me on the Malik's channel. Go check it out. Answered that question. Udun means hell.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So it makes sense that this episode is titled Hell.
Yeah,
that's what Mordor is, right? Like
yeah.
It's fucking hell.
Yeah.
You know, when we see it in Return of the King, it's just hell. Now, what I want to know is that tower. Does that tower become Sauron's tower?
It's got it, right?
Right.
Or maybe like the building blocks for it.
Right. Because the tower's destroyed now, but you've still got that like sort of foundation, you know, and you know, remember this show is not actually tied to that trilogy.
Yeah.
So we're
just theorizing here,
you know, but they can't exactly copy the look of those things, right? We're not, like I said in episode 1, we're not going to see a flaming eye.
No,
you know, right? That's not even from the books. That's from the movies only.
Do you think we're going to see Sauron in physical form?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We have to. I think we probably already have.
Well, because he's a shapeshifter, right? Essentially is what he is.
Yeah.
So we would have seen him as another character is what you're saying.
Right. Which I've got another theory.
Okay.
All right. So there was something we didn't do a show for episode 5.
4 and 5. Correct. Well, this is 5.
Oh, did we not do? No, this is 6.
Is this 6?
This is 6.
Ah, pooey. Did I title it wrong?
Yeah, this is 6.
Oh, this is 5 and 6. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we didn't do a show for episode 5.
Correct.
Gil-galad tells the story of Mithril. He tells how, you know, someone was fighting the last Balrog, and you know, Elendil was fighting the last Balrog. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Elendil or Eärendil. Eärendil's fighting the last whatever, right? And that's not in the books. That's not what Mithril is.
So they changed something completely.
Yeah, and it's a little controversial, right?
Okay.
With like big Tolkien fans. I don't give a shit because I don't actually care that much. But like with some of the like big Tolkien fans, it's a little controversial, right? And my theory is what Gil-galad says isn't true.
Okay.
It's bullshit.
Okay.
Right? Because we know in the previous episode, Celebrimbor mentions we have to finish the tower before spring. And in my head, I went, well, what the fuck happens in spring? Right?
Yeah.
Why does it matter when you finish? And then we find out the next episode, they're like, we have to give all the elves Mithril before it's too late. Well, is before it's too late spring, right? Is that where these two ideas are coming from? So we know in the books, Sauron explains to Celebrimbor how to make the rings.
Are you saying Gil-galad could be Sauron?
No, I'm saying
Okay.
I think that story was told to them by Sauron.
Oh.
I don't think that story is true. in world. I think it was told to them by Sauron to trick them and say, hey, look, your only hope is to give all the elves Mithril as a way to get them to build that tower and create a conflict between the elves and the dwarves. And we also know one of the rings, actually, Nenya, the Ring of the Adamant, which is Galadriel's ring, is made of Mithril. So, maybe not that one. Maybe it might be Gil-galad's ring's made of Mithril. One of the rings is made of Mithril. Doesn't matter, right?
So if that's the case, does that mean you are feeling different about Halbrand being Sauron?
No, not necessarily, because we don't know. Most likely, because at the start of the story, the plan for the tower and the rings is already in motion, right?
Reefton, that's a good point.
Yeah, right. The poison tree is not.
Maybe he told the story and poisoned the tree just to add a little credence to it.
Right.
Interesting.
Because the poison tree is the same thing we saw happening in the Southland to like the cows and the grass and stuff.
Oh, I forgot that happened.
Yeah. So
okay.
All right. So we don't know how long ago Gil-galad heard that story. We know the plans for the tower and stuff were already in motion when the series started.
Okay.
And then we also know Gil-galad was on the ocean when the series started. So hypothetically, Halbrand.
Galadriel.
Halbrand.
Oh, Halbrand. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
So if Halbrand is Sauron, he could have went to Celebrimbor and Gil-galad and went in the guise of an elf and went, hey, this is what, you have to know this, right? Here's proof, right? This rotting, withering tree is proof.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mick. I was right, Nenya. What did I say? Did I say Nenya? I think
you said Nenya. You said Nenya.
I said Galadriel's ring, but I don't know if I said Nenya.
I'm pretty sure you said Nenya. So he essentially shapeshifted or formed into someone of elvish looks to inform Gil-galad and company that the tree is poisoned and that elves will all die if that tree is to die, essentially. And then he shapeshifts into someone else in the form of Halbrand.
Possibly.
And now turns his sight on the Southlands after already setting up wherever the elves are for them to eventually leave.
Right. And we have the questions we have, right? He has to eventually get to oh man, Mick or Reef can tell me what the name of Celebrimbor's city is. Whatever the name of Celebrimbor's city is. It's not Gondolin.
See, show W Bits is with us. Sauron fooled the elves by disguising as an elf, Anatar. In these episodes, we are seeing Sauron deceiving men by disguising as a man, Halbrand.
Yeah.
Boom.
Probably. Here's the other thing, though, right?
I mean, it makes sense. Here you go.
Thank you.
Here's
the other thing, right? The showrunners could be smart, and they could be trying to make people who know the story think that.
Yeah, they could totally be twisting it up. 100%.
They could be doing this just for me to hear. Just for me to go like, oh, well, clearly Halbrand is Sauron, right?
What are the chances of that, though, do you think? Like, do you think they're brave enough to actually twist away from what the story is kind of set out to be?
Well, no, I don't think they're going to twist away from what the story set out to be. But I think they might just be tricking us with Halbrand, right?
Got it.
Because Halbrand...
what if it's another character that we have no clue about?
Okay. Right. Sauron could be someone else right now, right? Okay. And Halbrand could be... Halbrand is definitely going to be a villain. I have no question about that.
That poor guy.
That doesn't stop me from loving his character.
I love him. I think he's awesome.
I think he is the best developed character in the series right now.
Yeah, I think so too. He and Arendir.
I don't know. Arendir's a little flat for me. I like the character, but elves just that's just the nature of elvish characters, right?
Yeah, they're so stoic.
they're so character development doesn't happen for elves because they're alive for. He says right
thousands of years.
He has that great quote to Theo in episode 5 that like you're 14 and you have the bravery to do this.
Yeah.
And it took me hundreds of years to get there. Right. Yeah. Elvish characters don't have that same character development that we're going to see out of the human character.
That's fair.
And even Durin, right? Like Durin and the human characters and the hobbits are where we're going to see character development. We will see Galadriel have character development, and we will see Elrond have character development only because they are our main characters, and we know they have to develop to get to the point where they are during.
We know their end game, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, the other characters are not going to show development. But Halbrand,
the other elves,
correct.
Yeah.
Halbrand has so much potential for character development and for character in general. I fucking love that how they've done that character.
Me too. I loved in like this episode is what like the tipping point for me. I was like, yep, right. I'm all in on this kid.
Yeah, for me it was last episode, but like episode 1 when he's on the boat, I'm like, all right, I could tell I'm gonna like this character, but there's nothing, there's nothing yet for me to care about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Sauron could be. I do think the showrunners are smart enough to throw some red herrings in there, right? Because they are telling a story that's already been told. Mm-hmm. House of the Dragon has been doing that so well. Mm-hmm. I know the POV crew gave Jill a little shit for the what's his name in the fireplace?
Laenor.
But what if I told you in the books Laenor dies?
He does die in the books.
Right? So like
I knew that. That's why I was surprised.
Yeah. So that was something unique to the show.
Yeah.
So I almost didn't catch it because I was like, well, I know.
Well, you thought he died. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Like it's yes, I think the showrunners are smart enough to throw some red herrings in there. I just don't know. They've done such a good job of sowing the seeds for Halbrand being Sauron that I don't know if they will or not.
Yeah.
My big question is still the stranger. Right? The Meteor Man.
Oh, yeah, which we didn't see any of this episode.
No.
I'm interested in what happens with them and the Harfoots, or him and the Harfoots, being that we have 2 episodes left. We didn't see them this episode. They're obviously traveling somewhere. They got to be traveling to the Shire, right?
No, they get gifted the hobbits get gifted the Shire after the last battle.
Okay. All right. So they're traveling somewhere else then. Yeah. Okay.
After the last alliance of men and elves is when the hobbits go to the Shire. For now, they're actually on the other side of the mountains right now.
Okay.
And
are you still on
that's train? So showbiz, that's so interesting.
Here, let me bring it up. New clues that I uncovered. Halbrand's sigil looks like a kingfisher bird. Kingfishers are known to make nets using the bones of their prey.
That is so interesting.
And they have focused on that a couple times. Like I always forget her name. Arendir's girl, Bronwyn, I think. Bronwyn noticed it right away.
Yeah.
When she met him, there was a clear close-up shot
of the sigil
on his sigil, so it's very recognizable to many people, which is obviously coming to play. Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's funny. I actually didn't get a good look at I've never given a good look at the sigil. It also kind of looks like a vulture a little bit.
What would that mean? What would that mean? Like, does that mean anything in like the lore of Lord of the Rings?
A kingfisher? No, not necessarily. But like, the idea that he's,
oh God.
Did he have a staff in the last one?
He used a staff. Remember, he was on the horse and he grabbed one.
Oh yeah.
And then he went to he stabbed.
And then he goes through
Adar.
the horse's legs. Yeah.
Yeah, and he stabbed Adar, or tried to stab Adar.
Yeah. It reminds me a little bit of a vulture. The bird.
Which vultures are a little bit kind of towards the evil side.
Yeah,
they're not viewed as great birds. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes. Yeah, it's so interesting, right? Like
Spear or staff, Andy? Same damn thing, my guy.
yeah, they're
It's a
both
wood stick.
they're
It's a
both
wood stick.
they're both hafted weapons.
Oh God, what was I gonna ask? Oh, okay. I wanted to ask before we spend too much time on Halbrand or anything else. I wanted to ask you about Isildur and his father and kind of where he's at, because he's obviously going to be a major player.
Yeah,
that's happening. How do you feel about Isildur so far?
You know, I don't know. Isildur, he's got some interesting. They're making some interesting choices with him, right?
He
I
just
love
feels
that.
like a very immature kid right now.
Right. And like it's so interesting because his buddies definitely are not immature. Right. I do love the character moments with him and Galadriel.
Yeah.
I like that Queen Muriel was like, yeah, go get, like, you want to get into the fight? Go, please. Right. I wanted to bring up the mother, Isildur's mother. We find out that his mother drowned.
Yeah.
And that's such an interesting callback to, in episode 3, we get that line, the sea is always right. Which shows the conflict between, that does such a good job for me of painting the conflict between Isildur and Elendil and their family and the Númenórean culture. Because if she drowned, that means that's the will of the sea, right? That's the will of their culture for their mother to have died.
Yeah.
Well, why, right? You know, so that's such an interesting little tidbit.
Well, and I think I remember you saying that Isildur and his family, they basically leave the Númenor culture to
start Gondor. Yeah.
Start Gondor, right? They stay in Middle Earth essentially. Yeah.
Well, in the books, they're going to go back to. So in the books, what happens? They go back to
Númenor,
and then they leave Númenor before the flood.
Okay. So you think that after all of this, they're going to be heading back with the Queen?
You know, I don't know, because they're definitely taking some liberties with the story.
I feel like
so they may just leave them, right, in order to like bridge that gap, right?
I feel like that might be there a little longer, and after they decide to leave, or after the Queen decides to go back, that they're going to decide to stay.
Yeah,
like
so that's
kind of the vibe I get.
Yeah, and they could show them, building Gondor and Arnor.
How far away is that to compare to the Southlands?
It's not, right?
It's like right there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because you see in Return of the King, they're looking from Minas Tirith to Mordor, right?
So, I mean, they're literally within miles of where their eventual home is.
At least where Isildur and his brother's home is.
Yeah, a couple days ride, etc., of where they eventually post up.
Elendil will end up closer to the Shire, but Isildur...
And Elendil is the father?
The father, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll end up in Erebor. Erebor, yeah. Arnor is...
I'm interested just because Isildur is still very young. He clearly has a very long way to go. So maybe them going back to Númenor makes sense because he is a little younger. And his sister, is still there.
Yeah, I'm so interested in the sister because I'm wondering if they're gonna do the thing where like the sister is on the other side of the whole conflict.
I kind of feel like that's what's happening.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because she's not a book character, right?
No.
She's made strictly for the show.
Right.
I feel like there's going to be a conflict in that she's going to stay on Númenor and eventually pass when Isildur and his father go to Middle Earth.
Right. But the other thing too, she's also an architect, so she could be responsible for them building. Gondor is a huge feat.
That would be cool. That'd be pretty cool.
Or Minas Tirith is a huge feat of construction, right? We could see her building Minas Tirith. So
that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Kind of tied into the family a little bit.
Yeah.
Because is it ever said anywhere like how it's built or who it's built by? Or who designs it?
I mean, it's built by Isildur and his brother, but aside from that, we don't know.
Have we met Isildur's brother?
No, they mention him in episode 3, and I can't remember I have his name written down here somewhere.
But we haven't seen him, right?
Anarian. No, we don't. We haven't seen him. We haven't
And
seen
he's
him.
not part of like the Navy or anything.
No, we know. The only thing we know is that he, like Isildur, left the Navy and like went back home to the east side of the island or the west side of the island, which away from the capital of Numenor, because we've only really seen the capital of Numenor and
It's
like
a very small part,
and then a random library in episode 4, right?
But yeah, they have that like day's ride to the top of a hill or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
We know that Anarian went back to be with their people, with their family, basically.
Got it.
But we don't know. We haven't seen him. Most likely they haven't cast him, right? Like he'll show up eventually.
He'll probably be in season 2, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Which is why we haven't seen him we've only seen him by name. Which means, and if he goes to Middle Earth with them,
yeah, I would think. Which they could just write him out, right? Like he's not as necessary as Isildur and Elendil to the story.
They could replace him. They could replace him with the sister.
Yeah, and then they could replace him with the sister, and they could just be going like, "Hey, we've got too many characters already." You know, like
there's a bunch of characters.
Yeah, there's
like
almost
we didn't see the dwarves once this episode.
No, it's not quite as bad as like Game of Thrones season 1 was.
Yeah.
But it's close, right? Like it's real close.
I have a feeling that season 2 will slim it down a little bit now that we're introduced to everything.
Or at least in season 2, we'll see more characters in the same place.
Yes, that's a better way of saying it. Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, anything else, Sean? Anything we're forgetting?
That's all I got. What do you think, Andor?
I loved Andor. I love it so much.
I'm so afraid for
Nemec.
I'm so afraid.
He is the biggest on the chopping block, but I have a gut feeling he's going to make it out.
All right, we've been I don't know if you're if you're not people in the chat, go watch my Star Wars show, Scoundrels Inc. On YouTube. Myself, Kevin Smets, Frank Janish, and Brandon Hanna breaking down all the latest and greatest in Star Wars with our classic antics and bits. I brought something up on the show. We had kind of theorized a couple episodes ago. Rebellions are built on hope. Andor says that in Rogue One. And then Jin repeats it.
Yep.
I think
he says it in this episode.
I think Nemec is going to say it. Or
yeah, man. Well, he kind of already said it in a little way.
Or it's in Nemec's book.
The manifesto.
Yeah.
I mean, he did say hope in this episode. He talked about hope.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get a possibility.
I think before he dies next episode, because he's definitely going to bite the dust next episode. I think before he... I love him. Jake, what do I do? I paint model soldiers. Okay.
He reminds me of both Jesse from the very first Fast and the Furious and Mouse in the Matrix. Both of them died. So
sorry, Reef.
Yeah.
But
we didn't spoil anything. There's no spoilers there.
All we said was he has a book, and then he's too sweet. He's too sweet to.
I agree.
I
agree.
Yeah. Anyways, no, that's all I got.
I mean, great. It's getting there, right, Sean? It's becoming the show that we kind of wanted it to be so far. Slowly but surely. We have 2 episodes left, so hopefully it finishes out strong.
Yeah.
Being that's the biggest money-making show of all time, or money-worth show of all time.
Jesus, I can't believe that. And
season 2 got greenlit officially, so it's happening. Shoners did an interview this week. They talked about it.
So we'll do this again for Wheel of Time, and then we'll do this for
just a fantasy recap show.
Yeah, we'll find a name for it
eventually. All right, everybody.
Maybe we can get like Brian or Molly on here, and they'll actually participate instead of
Yeah, maybe. I'm sure Molly would have a fun time talking about it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of guys, go to twitch.tv/Molly Damon. She's live on Twitch right now.
Oh yeah, she is. That's right. She's doing spooky
She's
games.
Doing spooks.
Yeah.
Go tell her we sent you.
Yeah, we rated you without rating.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can host. Oh no, they took away hosting on Twitch.
Yeah.
I can't host.
All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up tonight. Thank you to all 5, 6, 7 of you that have been joining us live. We appreciate.
You're all great. You're all wonderful.
We love you guys for this rambunctious show that we think is just covering Lord of the Rings, but covers Vox Machina and Andor and Cheesecake Factory at times.
Yeah.
Go check out Sean on Scoundrels Inc., another Star Wars podcast. Also check out his Twitch where he paints minifigs.
Well, we're gonna have on Monday. I think Monday.
Is there an announcement coming?
There's an announcement on Monday.
There's an announcement coming, guys. Be excited.
I might come do it on your show. Actually, we're gonna talk.
Perfect. I'll host it. I love it.
Because you guys are live Mondays now.
We're live on Mondays now.
Yeah.
POV is live on Mondays, everybody. Patreon schedule is up in the Discord. The schedule goes up on Patreon tomorrow, so check that out. But for now, thank you guys so much for joining us. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. We'll catch you guys next time.